And so you don't bring. An important thing that a teacher of presence does is they dissolve conflict. They don't feed it. And if you don't feed it, it very quickly collapses. Now, if conflict collapses, that's not food for your ego. So your ego does not want conflict to collapse. It might say that it wants a peace, but it acts differently. The words say, I want peace. No, they don't want, the ego doesn't want peace. It wants more conflict. So when you are present, you're able to dissolve conflict, and that it is simultaneously, it is a dissolution of your ego too. Because the ego wants the conflict, but you don't. You, the essential you, the you that is transcendent to the ego, does not want conflict. It loves peace. It loves the state of love. So the teacher of presence teaches, not very often, a lot of the time, not through words, not even necessarily through doing, but through bringing a certain state of consciousness to the situation. And that dissolves conflict. Imagine if that happens on a world scale. If there were world leaders conscious enough, present enough to dissolve conflict instead of amplifying conflict. Because what happens on an individual level also happens collectively. The amplification of conflict. That's how, for example, if you know the history of century, First World War, it started with one little thing, tragic for the person, but an assassination, the assassination of the Archduke Ferdinand, whoever his name was, somewhere in the Balkans. And then various nations, the leaders of nations reacted. And it became bigger and bigger. It's just one event, reaction, and the others reacted against their reaction. Before they know it, you have the most unbelievable, devastating conflict that ever happened on the planet until then. It's like 30 million dead or something, just unbelievable. It all happened from one little thing, unconscious people amplifying conflict at every stage. And this could happen again. To some extent, it is happening again in the world, because not many leaders are present or conscious. Very few. Let me see, who is trying to think of a conscious leader? It's not coming to me right now, but there must be someone. So all these things are vitally, vitally important. And even just this one little thing of not contributing to conflict, but dissolving conflict would change the world. First, it changes your life, and if people who have a certain amount of power are able to practice that, then it's the end of useless warfare and terrible suffering that humans create for other humans and for themselves. So that's the path. Our path is the path of awakening to presence. So important. It's never been more important than it is now, if you consider the world situation. But the true change starts with you, and then it spreads from you to others.